not 27th at all. Release 17th, July. Oh my God, fucking kill me.
Yeah, I'm not the first one to mess up.
What's up, brothers and sisters of the Forge? Welcome into another episode of the Metal Forge Reviews. Today is our monthly metal roundup, where we take some of the best albums over the last month or so, and this includes records, singles, EPs, demos, basically kind of anything that caught our eye, and we want to present them to you, and hopefully that you will like them as well. And today we're going to do something a little different, and we hope that you enjoy it. We are featuring today a close friend of ours who dates back many, many decades, as you will soon find out.
We are super excited. This is the first time we've done this, and this guest is near and dear to our hearts. We've been friends for a very long time, and fun fact, my first band ever was with this gentleman. This month, we have the insanely talented Matt Zappa, drummer and all-around local celebrity around Boston area, Massachusetts, a master of double bass, a wonderful music instructor, killer musician. Matt, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your projects.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me on the show. And Brandon is right. The first metal band I ever had was with him back in the day, playing all kinds of crazy house shows, causing all kinds of ruckus, and basically cutting our teeth and learning how to play. I'm very fortunate and happy to have myself on the show. Thanks, guys. I work with Protein Collective, which is a prog metal band out of Boston. Work with also an art rock band called Walter Sicker and the Army of Broken Toys. Math the band, that's kind of like a chiptune, like Nintendo kind of punky band out of Providence. And I freelance doing a lot of recording sessions up around here. I'm back and forth between New York and Boston. Not so much right now. But yeah, just do my best to teach privately and still have people to be able to make art, even though while everyone's stuck inside.
That's great, man. We're very, very happy to have you on the program here today. You've been a longtime friend and supporter of everything that we've done, so it just means a lot that you are here with us today. So appreciate that a ton, man.
Yo, thanks so much. I'm super proud of you guys. Like, this channel is like every time I go into like my sub feed on YouTube, I see a new premiere of like something you guys are doing. Like, I've learned a lot of new groups out of you guys, and you're constantly doing new stuff. So yeah, right on you.
So my first pick for the month of July here is the band Mora Prakoza. The album is By Chance. It came out on Season of Mist. This is a two-man group from Belarus, and it was recommended on my Spotify, and I thought the name and the album cover really were cool, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to check that one out. And holy shit, what a ride it is. I'm so used to the Anglo-Celtic-inspired folk that hearing something with more Siberian vibes was a really cool change of pace. And there's also some modern hip-hop and trap elements in the record, but it's not overabundant. It added a really nice flavor to the album. The hip-hop is contrasted very nicely by that Siberian Russian folk elements, which is just so cool. It reminds me of like being in Mongolia or something, where like it's bitter cold and there's eagles flying overhead and they're ripping carcasses apart and shit. The writing of the vocal lines is really unlike anything I've ever experienced, and I want you to experience it with this track that I've chosen called I'm a Human. You can support Mora, Prakoza by getting their album on Bandcamp or wherever Season of Mist albums are sold. So let's throw it over to Matt for your first pick.
Thanks so much, Ben. My first pick is a band from the UK called Purge. They're a prog metal genty type of group, and they come from the tradition of groups like Sikith, Meshuggah, but not in a sense of like where a lot of modern progressive gent bands that are using so much EDM, and these guys focus a little bit more, less on the proficiency and more of the overall landscape of what the genre really is. And these guys came out of nowhere. This is their first release, first single. And yeah, you could support them on their Instagram or follow them on Facebook. And they have a video up there for their song Less and Less. And I want to bring it over to our next pick, which is from Brandon.
My next pick is Havukruunu. I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this name. Uinuos Syömein Sota. Don't judge me on that, but yeah, it's fine. Released July 17th on digital, physical in August 17th. Not sure why they did that, but maybe to spur up interest. I found this record from a friend who posted a picture of the album art online and said that this was emotional and powerful black metal. And that description hits the nail on the head. And it's even more than that, in my opinion. The album has one of the most powerful vocal intros I have ever heard in my life. I've listened to this record so many times this month that I've lost count, and I think it's going to be an Album of the Year list contender for me. Here's a clip from the title track. Enjoy. You can support Havukruunu on their Bandcamp page where they have a ton of pre-orders for great merch. Don't sleep on this record. You're gonna love it. Ben, what do you have next?
My next pick is Falconer's From a Dying Ember. It is Metal Blade Records' release. Technically, this was a June release, but it came out on the 26th, which was the day that our video came out, so I'm going to put this into the July category, but it is technically June. This is the swan song of the Swedish power metal band Falconer, as they announced that they would break up following the release of this album. I have been a fan for Falconer since their 2001 self-titled album, which is a brilliant release. Prior to starting Falconer, the primary songwriters of the band were in a blackened metal act called Mythotin. Definitely check them out if you're not familiar with them. So if you're sad about Falconer ending, don't worry, there's plenty of back catalog to check out. If this is Falconer's send-off album, I'm sad to see them go, but I think they are signing off with a very strong farewell. I'm happy that they're splitting up with Matthias Blad as their singer. He's always been the highlight of the band for me. As awesome as their songwriting is, Matthias is just such a killer voice. He actually kind of reminds me of Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull. This is a great Falconer album. If you're not familiar with them, like I said, they've got a big back catalog with 8 other albums to check out. And once you're through with that, definitely check out Mythotin. I would suggest starting with anything featuring Matthias Blad and going from there. Here's a highlight song from their latest album. This is called Rapture.
Winds and storms, lakes, rivers and seas, sun and sky, land, forests and heat.
Rest in power. Falconer. Support them wherever Metal Blade records are sold, and definitely follow their musicians because they're all incredible. Matt, what else do you have for us, my friend?
Well, Ben, my next pick is Pig Destroyer's new single, The Cavalry. I've been a fan of this band since their album Phantom Limb. JR, their lead singer, to me is maybe one of the best lyricists in metal. I've never heard anyone that was most evocative in the way he describes even something so that could be mundane and just regular gory. He will describe it as one of my favorite lines is your legs are so sexy out of context. In the way he's talking about dismembering someone in, like, to me, why would you put that in that way? But he has a very inventive way of thinking. Adam Jarvis on drums is one of the most elite drummers in metal, and their whole rhythm section is a great tour de force. Honestly, I'm very excited for the next record, and this was part of Decibel Magazine's Flexi disc series that came out a little bit before July, but we won't push too hard on that one. So here is The Cavalry. You could support Pig Destroyer on their various forms of social networking, and they were part of Relapse Records. So for the next choice, I go to you, Brandon.
That's a great pick, Matt. Pig Destroyer is kind of a cool band because they span, actually, I think, our friendship. Like, we've seen them at the Palladium so many times back when New England Metal and Hardcore Festival was actually good. And
First off, legends. Pig Destroyer, legends. And I can't, like I said, can't wait for the new release.
I remember there was a quick side note. I remember there was a show. We were there together and the mic cut out and he finished the song without the mic and you could still hear him.
Dude, if like JR, like how that shouldn't be possible. Being able to sing grindcore at that level on top of a full band. Yeah. You win.
Untouchable. The next one I have on my list is Haunt Flashback. Yes, Haunt has been on our radar twice in the same year. Trevor Church did it. Not even a year later after Mind Freeze. In fact, it was only a couple months, so Mr. Church has been pretty busy in quarantine. We have another Haunt full length. Fresno, California-based Haunt are back with another banger of a record, full of catchy melodies and old school feel. The album art is freaking awesome. It could be on a skateboard, and I hope it would be on a skateboard. It'd be sick album art on a skateboard. I love the vibe on this album. The record overall has a bit of a clearer production, in my opinion, compared to Mind Freeze, and the songs are full of hooks, really dope guitar solos, great vocal harmonies, and I love the DIY part of this band. That's really something you can appreciate. It's hard to do this stuff on your own, and this guy does it all. It's really great that you can support Trevor directly with his new label, Church Recordings. Here's a clip from the title track, Flashback. You can support Haunt on their Bandcamp page because that's where all of their stuff mostly is, where they have a ton of physical merch, CDs, tapes, LPs, shirts, you name it, they have it all. You know you want that killer artwork in your hands. Support these guys, get on it. Ben, what's your next pick?
Thank you, Brandon. I am very excited to check out that Haunt release for sure. I loved Mind Freeze, and I'm sure that the Flashback is going to be just as righteous. My third pick for today is Wren, Groundswells. This came out on Gize Records and is the second full-length album from the sludge post-metal band from London. It is another album that came out at the end of June that we weren't able to cover, so I'm just throwing this into the July list. This is a unique post-metal album reminiscent of Neurosis, early Isis, and Cult of Luna. The musicianship and songwriting on this is very progressive. They have a great use of leads, and the rhythm section is super strong. But for me, what really stood out was the sonic qualities and mixing arrangements. I don't know who mixed this. I don't know what recording studio this was done at, but it sounds amazing. There's a really strong spatial quality that really lends to the atmosphere and the heaviness. There are vocals that are panned off-center a bit. You know, it feels like the guitars are right in your face. It feels like the drums are right in your face. This is a fantastic album that displays sonic qualities that are just very modern, but the songwriting is right there too. There are a lot of oh wow moments on this album, as opposed to just kind of hearing the same droning thing over and over again, which unfortunately some post-metal bands can kind of get stuck in that loop. These guys are not like that at all. It's very progressive, and the album is very well paced. The song lengths are perfect and varied enough, so it doesn't feel like an overwhelming doom album or anything like that. This album, the first time I heard it, immediately became a contender for album of the year for me. So nice job, Wren. Here is a clip from the song Seek the Unkindred. I hope you support Wren by checking out their Bandcamp page or wherever Giza records are sold. And Matt, we'll throw it over to you.
Also, to tag in for what I was listening to Wren, their whole rhythm section is insanely tight. And for what you're talking about them as progressive, I found them in a way like progressive in the same way Pink Floyd's progressive, where I heard like echoes or after album Metal. I felt that vibe throughout the whole record, and I'm 100% for it. I can't wait. That song, well, the whole album is definitely joined playlist for 2020 for me. But my next pick will be Pain of Salvation's Accelerator from their upcoming record that is not named right now, but they'll be coming out within the year. Pain of Salvation has been one of my favorite bands for decades now. They're one of the reasons why Protein Collective sounds the way we do. And this is actually a delve into a little different direction for the band. It is a little bit more synthy, a little bit more synth-wavy, while still mixed together with their progressive tendencies, with their rhythms, and Daniel Gillenlow's vocal harmonies are on point at top of his game. I'm looking very forward to this one. So here's a little bit of Accelerator. You can support Pain of Salvation on their record label, Inside Out Records, and on their various forms of social media, Instagram, Facebook. And I pass it over to Brandon for the last pick.
The last pick.
The final pick.
The final pick. Final pick.
Oh, Brandon, that voice. That voice could be featured with Steve DiGiorgio, Jason Bittner, Felipe on a Death Track, correct?
Yeah, Overactive Imagination, except I don't growl that low.
No. Brandon, this is pimping yourself out.
Check out the cover. It's on my Crow and Raven Studios channel. I'll link it in the description. And follow me on there because I'm trying to do things that are maybe matter at some point. Anyways, my next pick.
Like, share, subscribe, bitches.
My next pick is Haken. Is it Haken or Haken?
Haken.
My next pick is Haken Virus, released July 24th on Inside Out Music. Matt's going to make fun of me for this, but
I'm just like, this is your show, man. Like, I came in here all on top of my game. Like, if you just want to be a little amateur hour, it's cool. Like,
well, I know it's probably a complete failure that this is the first time I've ever heard this band. But holy shit, I was completely blown away by this album. The production on this record is freaking crazy. There's so many deliberate layers in the songwriting, and every minute is totally jam-packed with something interesting. There's all kinds of panning going on, push-pull with all the instruments. It's mind-blowing, total ear candy. Every member of this band is not only an unreal player, but the songwriting on this record is spectacular. And I find that's kind of an interesting thing, and one of the reasons why prog metal is sometimes hit or miss for me is a lot of the times prog players are freaking fantastic musicians, but sometimes not the best songwriters. Not the case with this band. I would love to see this live. When I heard this record, I was immediately hooked and excited to go back and check out their entire back catalog because this is just totally ridiculously awesome. This album crushed me. Here's a clip from Prosthetic. You could support Haken on their web store. They have a ton of really awesome merch available, all kinds of bundles and stuff, LPs, CDs, shirts. Don't sleep on this album. Check it out. I was recording that when I said, ooh, Ben Buns, so that's cool.
that's going to be like the exit roll, like the end cards theme.
Get yourself a nice tray of Benny Buns.
Get Matt Zappa's new book, Sweet Rolls, on...
Yeah, let's think. Let's stop talking about Ben's ass. What were some of your favorite metal releases from July 2020? Leave us what you're listening to in the comments. Hit us up. Let us know what you're checking out. Check out the links in the description for our honorable mentions. There was a bunch of really great content from July, and they absolutely deserve your time. Go down there, listen to them.
Yes, thank you again for joining us on our monthly metal roundup. If you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button somewhere down there. You know, it's down there. And make sure to check out our channel for more top metal lists, reactions, interviews, and all kinds of cool stuff that we have coming down the pike. Matt, is there anything else that you'd like to leave our audience with? And thank you again so much for joining us today. You are the man.
Yo, thanks so much for having me. If I could leave you all and your fan base with anything right now, it's please do your best to support all these artists right now, because basically their livelihood and income is stopped in this time of COVID. It's a very scary time if you're an artist. So if you, any bands, any venues that you really care about, that you frequent a lot, see if there's any way to reach out to them to see if you could support them. So after, when this whole thing has gone out, we could all go to a metal show. We could all hang out. We have a place to be. So please support your artists and support your local venues.
That's a really great point, Matt, and that's something that we're really passionate about on this channel. Support your artists. Do everything you can, even if it's not monetary. Share the stuff. Share this video. Share their stuff. That's one of the best ways you can support them. Thank you so much for tuning in. In the wise words of Chief Martin Brody from Jaws.
Smile, you son of a bitch!
Good night, folks.